Now, there are a few entries in here we're going to make every single month. Put a little star or an asterisk next to the letter for each of those entries you think that we're going to make every month. Okay? Okay, now you jumped over E and F because those were corrections or adjustments, right? We're not going to miss check number 1262 every month, are we? Okay, so yeah, we might miss other checks some months, but we don't anticipate that we're going to, so we're not going to have that entry every month. And neither are we going to have to correct Stuart Edwards' account every month, okay? So those are exceptional. Those are adjustments. The others are what we call recurring entries. Standard entries are just those entries that occur every single month. You'll notice that on the left-hand side, we have the description of the entry, right? Okay? Then we have columns, a debit and a credit column for every month. Now, we're working in August, so I want you to move over or look over at the right side where August comes. Notice that we've left those columns wider to allow you to write it in. If we were using the standard entries journal, it would be just a matter of each month for that particular month entering the amounts. The description of the entry is already provided. We did that at the beginning of the year, and that's the only time we had to provide that. The rest of the year, we'll just each month change the amounts. Do you see that? Okay. So what was the amount? The first entry is to set up employer's portion of Social Security. How much was that? If we look back in the general journal? $784.92. Is that right? Okay, just write that in the debit and the credit columns underneath August. Just write $784.92 in both columns. Okay? That's all you'd have to do. You didn't have to rewrite the description in the general journal or put the dates. You just have to put the numbers. Now, come at the end of September, what are we going to do? We're just going to change. The numbers will be different at the end of September, most likely. And so we'll just put the numbers in the September columns. Do you follow that? So we only had to write the description once. Now, if we put it in the standard entries journal, do we also need to put it in the general journal? No. We put it in one or the other, not both. I've just used this for description purposes to show you how to use that last journal, okay? But if we've got it in the general journal, we're not going to put it again in the standard entries journal. And if we have it in the standard entries journal, we're not going to put it in the general journal. So if we use the standard entries journal, how many entries would have appeared in the general journal this month? Two. Just entries, I think it was E and F, wasn't it? Right. Those are the only two entries we'd have in there. All the other entries would have been in the standard entries journal. Does that make sense to you? Okay, so it's just to save time on those standard entries. And I've had a client that had 2 pages of standard entries, so it was a huge time saver. And we'll show you later why they might have that. Questions on that journal? Okay, so the purpose of the general journal is for what? Miscellaneous entries. The purpose of the standard entries journal is for recurring entries, entries that occur every single month. Now that's all 7 journals. Okay, we've talked about the purchase journal. We've talked about the disbursements journal, the sales journal, the cash receipts journal, the payroll journal, the general journal, and the standard entries journal. Those are the 7 journals. If you don't have any recurring entries or you only have one recurring entries journal, it may be more hassle to set up a whole other journal just for that one. And so you might then just choose to put it in the general journal. Okay? And there might be some months that you use the general journal a lot with adjustments and corrections, and other months you don't use it at all because there weren't any adjustments or corrections that month. So the journals you set up, and again we talked about sometimes you can combine the cash disbursements and purchase journal, right? And have one journal for both of them. You can combine the cash receipts and sales journal and have one journal for both of them. And tomorrow in the practice set, we will understand that concept. Okay?